All right, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for taking time to join us today. My name is Chris Isbell with Martin and Associates, and today we are excited to show you all about Acumatica's built-in integrated CRM system into the software. So, before I hand it over to our presenter today, a couple housekeeping items. So we are recording this presentation, and within the next couple of days, a link to the recording will be sent out to everyone who registered. You can share that with your friends and coworkers. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can use the Zoom chat or Q&A feature. Ask away, and I'll be monitoring that. And we'll answer those questions as they come up or at the end of the demo, wherever they're pertinent. And today, we're going to be covering many wonderful things about the Acumatica CRM system. And we have Tom Ferris from Martin and Associates running this demo today. So I'll hand it over to Tom and take it away, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated. And certainly as we go through the demo, I'll rely on Chris, who's also a very experienced Acumatica practitioner. He's implemented CRM feature for many customers of ours to chime in, let alone field those questions that might come in from our attendees today. All right, I'll go through this slide introduction very quickly. Most importantly on the agenda, per Acumatica's recent marketing communications have gone out. The CRM feature set is totally integrated, as Chris said, and it's also quite comprehensive, ideally, in the end, to drive more sales and better engagement with your customer base. But some of that can begin with optional marketing functions like planning and budgeting campaigns in whatever media your messages go out, capturing leads as they are generated at whatever level or potential value that those leads might have. There's a whole bunch of management tools of leads. So part of that is not being intimidated by large sets of data, given the tools at your disposal for lead management. Those distill down through marketing qualification and eventually sales qualification activities to become actual opportunities in the pipeline for future sales. We'll look at the tools for managing and monitoring pipeline, setting quota, etc., and successful conversion to actual sales booked, and then turning that around and saying, the marketing planning work we did at step one actually netted the following sales, and that was less than, equal to, or greater than what we planned as far as both cost and revenue generated, and thus our return on investment. And then we'll spend a little bit of time at the tail end of this presentation today talking about some of the additional topics, because the CRM feature set is very broad and very deep, and we only have so many of the kind of core features to cover, but there's a whole bunch of fantastic adjuncts that we'll talk about at the tail end that will have to be discovered in more detail on a subsequent interaction with us at Martin Associates. So we, of course, always welcome questions. So that's our quick agenda review for this recording and its future life cycle. We'll spend just a few seconds on some Martin Associates background. Chris and I will go over this and a little bit about us for those who don't know Martin Associates well. Okay. All right. Acumatica gets one little pitch as far as their industry recognition data that's out there. All right. Time for our demo. So let's escape out of that and get into Acumatica. All right, so we begin with a quick review of some of the built-in dashboards for managing CRM. So customer relationship management, and for our nonprofit partners and prospects out there, constituent relationship management. So they don't have to become a customer to have value in managing them before they begin to interact with your organization, all the way up through they have interacted with your organization and how well did we do in the planning. So we're going to be looking today at the lead management function as prefaced, converting those leads to opportunities. Now we're getting into the details of presenting customer, client, prospect facing quotes, and then converting those quotes ideally to an actual order or an invoice or potential revenue. Okay, this slide actually introduces a few of the adjuncts that we'll talk about at the tail end a little bit more. This feature set can be extended as like a ticketing or help desk feature. Acumatica calls those cases. So the CRM feature can incorporate cases. Cases can even help manage your RMA processes for return merchandise authorization and other return types. The CRM also becomes the basis for the self-service customer portal. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Okay, for a quick preview about some of the dashboards that come predefined with the CRM suite, we'll spend a little bit of time popping into some of these: marketing manager, sales manager, sales operations, individual salespersons, and their own tailored salesperson dashboard for kind of monitoring their quota and progress to quota. And then, as preface, the support features. We won't cover these, but support manager and support tech associated with case management are also pre-built dashboards. All right, so that's kind of a quick introduction. Let's get into first some of the tools available to us from a planning perspective. These are all optional. There are plenty of sales organizations that would skip all the marketing stuff I'm going to preface here and get right to opportunities. But part of this tour is basically say, how do you get opportunities? How do you actually build a pipeline? And Acumatica CRM comes with some of those marketing planning tools. All right, so that's where we are going to begin, is theoretically at the beginning, if you're really being comprehensive about sales and marketing. Not in that order: marketing and then sales. Right. All right, so Acumatica comes with again a number of like planning and preparation features. They include marketing lists. So let's go take a look at what a marketing list is, and this will start to become more obvious as we move through the progression of planning into actually generating leads and monitoring and managing those leads. This is essentially an extension. For those who are live on Acumatica, you might recognize some of the things, labels like generic inquiry. It's an inquiry of data that already exists and or sets up an inquiry that will add to this list of potential recipients for marketing communications, folks or organizations that meet certain criteria. So let's pop into that underlying inquiry. And it's not very exciting. These are actually just a hyperlink to contact records. But drilling in a little bit further, this is basically leveraging, again, the generic inquiry feature set of Acumatica and basically putting a wrapper around that data set in the form of a marketing list that we'll see employed as we move through marketing and sales qualification. So on the marketing list, we basically can, quote, tag organizations and or individuals to become recipients for marketing activities. So they expressed interest. They have bought from us. They expressed interest but have not bought from us. These are all the kinds of criteria where we can carve up our existing customer base and our marketing base into marketing lists. Right. So, and a given individual or organization can be subscribed to multiple marketing lists. Everybody and their brother gets the company news, theoretically, until they opt out. And part of the CRM functionality, which is going to be mirrored in mass email delivery platforms, Constant Contact, SurveyMonkey, all of those email delivery platforms are going to have the equivalent of stop calling me, don't email me. So we have contact management or contact preferences capability built right into the CRM feature of Acumatica. All right, so that's a quick little dive into a marketing list. They can either be static or dynamic. So a static is, at this point in time, I assembled this list and I don't want it changing. Because it's an underlying generic inquiry, it's capable of being dynamic and say, well, new persons, new organizations met the criteria of the inquiry marketing list. So I added new records. I added new members to this marketing list. Okay, so that's one planning feature. Next planning feature is a little more fun. It's called the marketing campaign. And this is not just who is receiving a given marketing communication by whatever delivery vehicle, email, text, SMS blast, all those kinds of delivery vehicles that are out there. We'll talk about those in a minute. This, more importantly, is a more comprehensive planning tool about setting expectations. An upgrade campaign example is it has a start and an end date. How many responses do we expect to generate? How much will we spend on search engine optimization, on Constant Contact, on SurveyMonkey, et cetera, whatever our delivery vehicles are, on incentives that are paid out. There's lots of different contributors to a marketing budget. And more importantly, how much revenue are we hoping to generate as a result of this expenditure? We can tie this into an internal project for project accounting purposes. To kind of back up and get into more detail than just this marketing campaign record. And then this is, I think, the most compelling column right here is the life cycle of what marketing lists are we going to send this associated with this campaign. Let's go ahead and let that update. And so what's the membership or footprint of who we're communicating with? How many of them opened or clicked or responded? How many leads did we board and bring into Acumatica? We're going to see the leads here in a second. And how many of those leads were converted and went through, say, a marketing qualification process to become worthy of internal salespeople actually working those opportunities in a high touch sales activity of reaching out, having discussions, communicating, revising quotes, and then how many of those opportunities actually were won and what kind of sales value do we actually generate? So all the way from what are we going to spend on marketing to how much did we actually generate in revenue? All right, so that's the marketing campaign at a high level. All of these objects, marketing campaigns, lists, opportunities, quotes, every one of them are going to be extended as there are on customer records and contact records, this ability to record blow-by-blow activities on them. So if I have an internal activity for Chris to perhaps assist me, I could actually put together a task that is assigned to um, Chris or someone else. Say maybe I need from help from Pat, help with securing search engine optimization budget. And that's a task I want um, Pat and I to work on by September 9th. Okay. And go ahead and send Pat and I a reminder, um, a couple days beforehand. Okay. So this this task management feature, users can actually consume those tasks um, from the time and expenses workspace. Again, this is an optional feature, and we can actually see um, the tasks that are due. Let's see, all records in here. So here's help with securing the SEO search engine optimization budget, and the presence of this internal task can generate a notification, SMS text, um, or an email that's actually sent. You can actually see the little reminder flag. So we're going to keep coming back to this activities tab for kind of like the blow-by-blow activities. This is going to be most important on lead qualification and opportunities. But when we get to those records, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it because this is ubiquitous throughout lots of record types in Acumatica. Generated leads, opportunities. Again, the opportunities that are listed here, that's really just a listing out that which is being summarized here on the campaign statistics, the marketing campaign. All right, last bit of like planning is the capacity for mass email delivery right out of Acumatica. And we'll be honest, this isn't the most sophisticated mass email delivery tool. It's not the most sophisticated about blacklisting, whitelisting management. So most of our customers will not use this feature. They might actually prepare the marketing campaign and the underlying marketing list or lists, plural, but then actually send that data to a more comprehensive email delivery platform like Constant Contact. And there are bidirectional integrations with a number of email delivery platforms out there. So that's another follow-up we could do. Acumatica does have this mass emails, but this is generally not utilized because there's better ways to manage whitelisting and blacklisting out there. Okay, but Acumatica can still be the origin of the activity, then another delivery vehicle delivers the email blast, and then Acumatica becomes the recipient of the responses per our review of the marketing campaigns. Okay, and we can always talk through in more detail for exploring those. All right, so that's some of the planning activities. Now let's start reacting to data coming in. So we have sent out an email blast and we are recording leads. And there's a whole bunch of ways to bring leads in. I'm going to hit plus on the manual entry of a lead just to demonstrate some of the screen features. But we'll pause here and say, how did this record get in here? Could have been imported through import scenarios. It could have been an API call out to HubSpot or a variety of other like lead generation landing pages that bring the data into Acumatica here as a lead record. There are lots of ways to bring data in. All right, so we'll just right now we'll just do manual lead creation. Sally Salterton. Okay, she is the CFO at um, um, test manufacturing company, right? And we might have captured other, obviously, address and contact information about her. Who owns it? So sales personnel, marketing personnel who are in there as employees. This ownership field is based on establishing work groups in Acumatica's company tree. It can also be the assist with routing and assignment of leads, which I'll go to here in just a moment. This was not a referral. This came in through me reviewing the web, we'll say. And which of those campaigns are we going to credit? That one's in planning. So let's pick the year-end campaign here. All right, so now we have our, if we went and visited the marketing campaign that we looked at earlier, we'd see a lead associated with that campaign. And eventually we're hoping to actually move this through to becoming an opportunity. Some of the marketing lists that we looked at, the inquiries that are out there, we could either be dynamically adding folks to these lists or manually subscribing them. So there might be something about Sally's inquiry on the web that made me want to sign them up for one of our subscriptions, like the company newsletter, for example. And that could have happened automatically. I'm kind of going through it manually. Let's put in a few other things about Sally. Here's our activities list. We looked at creating a task. I can certainly be putting in a note. So more verbose notes. There's a whole notes field, but we can actually categorize the types of notes. Phone call versus note. This is a user-defined list. You can put together as many or as few of these as you wish. It was actually a chat session through a chat bot or something like that that was helped originate things, and then a human picked it up. Notes on chat with Sally regarding service contracts. Whatever the topic might be, we get to put in a summary and then basically be as verbose as we wish. If these types of activities contribute to a customer sales rep, so a CSR's time, then a subset of these activities can be made eligible to actually track your time. I spent 15 minutes on that chat. And so as an internal staff member, I actually need to record my time to that. You can set billable or non-billable assumptions associated with that, but I can basically be recording an activity in helping beginning to qualify this lead and simultaneously be writing to my time activities or time card. Okay. We'll say that this is, I could leave it open. Its status is open, or I could say that's actually a completed activity, in which case completed activities will actually contribute to my time card. So this is part of the interface between CRM and the underlying time card functionality that's built into Acumatica. Okay. So we talked about bringing in a lead from a variety of sources. Let's talk about some of the management tools, because I'm just doing a one-off lead that we'll come back to here. But I'm going to bridge out to a couple other options. One, let's go take a look at lead. Lead assignment. So when we have hundreds or thousands of leads coming in, how do we route them to someone who's actually going to do something with them, either en masse or in like a high touch activity like I'm doing with Sally's record and putting in notes and stuff like that. It's a very high touch activity, right? So, but when we have mass qualification to do and mass management, There's a whole bunch of tools that Acumatica comes with right out of the box. So a good example is lead assignment. Let's take that tasks right there. All right, so here's an example of a lead assignment map. Our website and other external facing sources are capturing all sorts of data. We can put leads into specific classes, like this lead assignment map node is about receiving hits on our website for job inquiries. And so we have told our import engine or our API, when leads come in from this web page, then put them into a lead class called job. And then route those leads and automatically assign them to a given employee on the HR team. And so here, I did basically kind of like a manual entry. But if I run an import scenario of hundreds or thousands of lead records from one or multiple sources, we could actually have this process, the assign leads process, which is basically looking at leads that have been created, comparing that to the business rules we've set up in assignment maps, and assigning leads. And assigning leads, like so many hundreds of other processes in Acumatica, can be scheduled to run automatically. We could actually have multiple schedules for this and say when the subset of data that comes in from our open job requisitions and we get responses to that, there's not that much traffic on that. Those can be processed once a day versus marketing or product or service interest. I want that processed every 1 minute. So there's lots of options in the workflow about how fast, how often, and under what criteria this automation takes over. And again, assign leads is just the process, but what it's actually executing upon is the instructions here in the assignment maps. All right, so job request, consumer leads. Our consumer leads is basically saying leads that came in that are still active, haven't been deactivated by somebody. No one is yet the owner, so it's a consumer lead class. So I could be manually putting in a lead class lead, but if I've manually already populated the owner, then the assignment map will ignore it. Okay, so these are business process workflow options for managing lots and lots of data. All right. All right, so that's a quick preview. There's a number of other assignment of contacts, assignment of opportunities. Throughout the life cycle, this automation is going to be available. Now we'll get back to kind of like our high touch activity, just to kind of demonstrate the feature set further. From a CRM info standpoint, which work group? So this is when ownership doesn't have to be down to a person. It could be just, it needs to go to the AP department, the HR department, the administrative department. So that's part of the work group function. We talked about contact preferences. Our lead class may or may not have had attributes, and those attributes might be required or not. We can set a rule that says, don't put in a lead unless you tell me at least what industry and how many employees and what their company revenue is. As it turns out, this data is optional on this lead class, but this can be required because this is going to help both marketing and, even more importantly, sales personnel decide and rank which leads are going to receive opportunity and high touch activities from a sales pipeline management perspective. Okay, so if there isn't data elements on the out of the box form that you want captured, either optionally or required, then that's what attributes are for. Okay, continue to make the qualification process a little richer, let's take a look at the Relations tab. So Relations tab is, while I'm putting this lead in associated with this year-end campaign, and its source, leads come in for a variety of reasons, and sometimes those reasons overlap and add to each other. So simultaneously, we might have had someone who's a referrer basically send us Sally's name. So rather than creating a duplicate of Sally, I can basically add to it and say, Sally was the recipient of this source campaign and marketing events. And there was a contact by the name of, that's business wise. Let's get into status description. Oh, am I going down? That we can do this. We can actually have like a business. Let's just do a business referral for simplicity right now. So someone from ABC Studios referred us to Sally as well. Okay. Yeah, we were missing there on that. Right. They want me to pick. They do want me to pick an individual. Sorry, I had that too far off the screen. So we'll say Travis was the one who actually referred us to Sally as well. So we marketed to her and then independently or in conjunction or at a later date or maybe even previously. We also got kind of like a manual referral from Travis at ABC Studios. Let's write that. Thank you. Okay, so it's not an either or, it can be an and. The various ways that we got word of Sally and are going to invest in further qualifying Sally for potential sale. Okay, so relations, tasks, we talked about activities. Excellent. All right, and so this coming in from multiple sources also reminds us of another important part of, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I want to basically just put a little star out here to highlight duplicate validation. When we've got multiple teams, marketing teams, sales teams, teams that are out running trade shows, for example, there might be HR sources that are managing the website. We have a potential for duplicates being entered, right? There are referred and marketed to as sources. So there is duplicate validation process and collapsing records that are duplicates into a single record. Okay, so that's another part of like the mass management. Let's stick here with Sally for our life cycle. Quick run through of the remaining tabs. We talked about one particular source campaign, but should multiple campaigns receive credit for Sally? Perhaps, just like there's both referrers and marketing activities. It might be multiple touches that were made. Okay, which marketing lists should Sally be subscribed to? And then the end goal, the lead itself, as we move it through its life cycle here, will actually record opportunities. So to Chris's introduction, the CRM is totally integrated. I can look at an invoice and work my way back through the quoting process and the lead origin that sale came from. I can always work my way back. This is kind of giving us a preface of how easily it is to work our way back to origin. Okay. All right, so done a lot of baseline work. Let's get into some more sales stuff. This is, we're going to open this lead up. We'll quickly run through qualification by the marketing team and acceptance by sales. And so this might be the handoff where the ownership changes from one person to another. So there's a manual change of ownership based on us reaching a certain step in the pipeline of their sales accepted. Again, there's mass updating capability to do exactly the steps that I just went through manually really quickly here to kind of keep us moving along. But let's take over and convert to opportunity. As we do that, let's go to pop into here and just take a quick peek at the underlying lead class as another management tool. When leads come in, we can define a default source, a default owner, the person who created it. I was logged in as Michael. Or are we going to allow an assignment map that we looked at, or the entity that came before it? Our workflow goes lead, contact, and account, possibly, and opportunity. And we can also state, where is it going? By default, when this lead gets converted to an opportunity, which we're about to do, what kind of opportunity class should it be? And that can actually determine ownership. All right, so as I hit this convert to opportunity, a number of assumptions are going to be pre-populated. One is I do need to create a business account for, what did I call it? Test manufacturing. Sorry. Co. And we'll let everything else kind of ride along. Were there any attributes associated with the opportunity that the system is forcing me to record? No, not presently. So let's just create that. And we'll pop into another screen for the resulting opportunity. All right. So our lead, there isn't much to do on the lead. You can see a bunch of the screens graying out. The lead's been converted. It's been converted to opportunity number 401. Okay. And now let's kind of watch the continuity of our planning efforts, our marketing efforts, our lead entry, our lead qualification, and our lead conversion, all kind of tied together. Here's our opportunity record. And we can start here. How did this opportunity get in the system? It was converted from a lead. Got a source campaign. It's receiving credit for an opportunity. Right now, I'll hastily put in, $1,000 manual amount, but we're going to make this a little more sophisticated here in a minute. Same ability to manage the opportunity blow by blow details. Our opportunity class is quite a bit more sophisticated than our lead class because it's capable of stages. I'm in qualification right now. These are user-defined stages, and the mathematical weight that each of those stages, aka probability, has is also user-defined. So in qualification stage, $1,000 opportunity is worth a weighted amount in the present of $100. And this is not going to happen until next week, for example. Okay, so already owner Michael is getting, quote, credit in his pipeline for having a Q3 sale that has a weighted total right now of $100, $1,000 potential sale. Okay, and that all came from our lead conversion. Next, this is like building a sales order in its very, very initial stages. So we'll keep this to a simple product sale. 3 of those at 110 is what I said we're closer to $1,000. So we'll make 9 of those, and I'll remove this manual amount and let it actually kind of dynamically populate from our actual opportunity details. An opportunity record is an internal record, and we externalize this through creation of a quote. And the reason why there's a quotes tab is because quotes are 1 to N with respect to an opportunity. We get to have one and only one quote at any given time as the primary, and customers reject quotes. And so that's why we have a history. The opportunity remains static, and the quotes are dynamic. So I'm creating my first quote, and we can talk some of those dialog boxes there that I just kind of blew through are how static are we going to keep our pricing for this quote? Sales prices and our cost of business, our cost of raw materials changes all the time. And the question is, how much do we want to expose a given sales process to the potentially dynamic nature of our own sales pricing, promotions, etc. You get to control that on a per sale basis. All right, so our lead, we're leaving that behind. It's been converted. I'll take this tab and keep track of our opportunity record on one tab as we advance this quote. So there we are. Quote number 16 is in a draft state. Our quote can go through both internal and external qualification. There's an optional approvals map, as there is on dozens of document types in Acumatica, before this becomes eligible to be emailed, printed, discussed with the customer or prospect. It needs to go through an internal approval process. So that's one thing. I will go and just kind of manually request approval. And since there wasn't an approval map engaged, or maybe the sale amount is below an internal approval threshold, no internal approval was necessary. And now my next activity would be to hit send. These, like so many other processes in Acumatica, can be automated. It can be automating that which gets sent. Or I could, and actually this is a preferred business process workflow for many customers, is like, let's go, before we send the PDF to the prospects, let's just look at it and kind of confirm that I have the details right before I hit send. Okay. And this, these documents can all be modified. Now that looks good. I'm going to send that employing the quote notification template. Oh, gotcha. And if I had a legitimate email address that I set up on Sally Salterman, I would actually have a recipient in the to field, and basically here's the subject, here's the body. I can amend it. There's the PDF attachment of the image I just reviewed, and off it goes. Okay. I obviously don't have a recipient, so we'll skip that part in our demo and get back to the record. Sending of the quote will add another record to the activities. This quote was sent. We can continue to foster additional relations data. And this approved means it was approved internally. Having sent this to the customer, I can come in and mark the next level of the life cycle, and it was accepted by the customer. And I would expect to have an email come back and be recorded here. This email integration with both Exchange server and Outlook and Gmail is another optional feature of Acumatica CRM. So I could have the salesperson record the customer's acceptance as a line item to justify my clicking on the button accepted by customer. Okay. This is now theoretically ready to be converted to an order. All right, so we're finally all the way through marketing planning, marketing activity, lead qualification, sales qualification, sales quoting, and we're ready to create an order. Let's refresh our opportunities tab. Our opportunity in the meantime will have locked itself up and saying, you can't go changing the opportunity value or anything like that because there's an external facing quote in process right now. Okay, so anyways, the opportunity kind of locks itself up. That's a quick reminder of that. Let's go ahead and convert to order. You can have multiple sales order types and define a default. Once again, we talk about the static versus dynamic nature of 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 the actual current prices and discounts, ignoring or honoring current promotions, that kind of stuff. Okay. We'll hit create and review of our sales order. Oh, doesn't like the fact that I don't have an email, so it's just throw Tom's email in there to actually have an order. Okay. If you think about back to our beginning planning, our marketing campaign that the Sally Salterton lead was associated with has now just inherited real dollars, not potential dollars, real dollars, because now it's save, and now I've got a sales order. Right. And the sales order, through continuing to use the relations tab automatically, is going to tell us where this sale came from. This sale, the reason this sale is in the database is because of conversion from a sales quote associated with this opportunity. So we're tying all the way back, and we can keep drilling back from this opportunity back to the lead, back to the marketing activity. Okay. So that's kind of like our primary, our sales, our CRM core demo of planning capabilities, lead management, mass management, opportunity, and finally conversion to sale. So if we go back to our remind myself about the Sally lead. We put her as the source campaign, the year-end source campaign. Okay, let's go back to our source campaign. There we go. So now we're actually contributing to the one opportunities value in our manual lead creation opportunity, actually crediting the marketing campaign. So marketing folks are happy because they're actually getting credit for actually having generated revenue. All right. A quick run through here at the tail end of our presentation for some of the prefaced adjuncts. One is many of these features lead entry, lead qualification, putting in contacts, managing business accounts. This is basically a pre-customer record. Recording opportunities, detailing out a sales quote. All of these can be done via the Acumatica mobile app. So, and in between the full UI on, say, a PC like I am, and a very small screen like a mobile app on a mobile phone, is the use of a tablet. And we find that users will find pros and cons to each. On a tablet, you might run the full UI of Acumatica. You might really like the mobile app for some of these business functions, sales functions, marketing functions, updating contacts, denoting relationships between customers, constituents, or prospects. So the mobile app is its whole nother animal for showing almost all of the features that we just went through. And so reach out to us if you're interested in a demonstration of the mobile app. We go back to our CRM flow image, a quick reprise of the fact that if you have an external ticketing system for the same customers that you're selling to, that's very possible that that ticketing system is redundant and that you could manage ticketing cases, troubleshooting, support, returns through the case management feature. There it is. That's the support workspace in Acumatica. Okay. I prefaced briefly on the email communications on the opportunity, the Outlook, Gmail, and Exchange integration. those are both, though all three of those are bidirectional. So we can originate emails in Acumatica and have them show up in our Outlook. And we can react to content that comes into Outlook and route it straight into the appropriate Acumatica record. The context of that email routing can be an activity record on the lead. So here's the outbound, create email, right? So this would actually show up in my Outlook that I actually sent this from Acumatica. The reverse of that is that we get a new email line right here in the activity of this lead when Sally emails me back. Yep. So Outlook Exchange and Gmail integration. The last topic that I'll mention is the self-service customer portal. Your customers are capable of putting in sales orders that come into Acumatica on hold. They're actually capable of performing a number of other features in the Acumatica self-service customer portal, including like looking at their most recent statement, paying an outstanding invoice to you online, inquiring of inventory, whether or not they should actually place an order with you. So the customer self-service portal is yet another additional feature that leverages this kind of CRM backbone that we've looked at.
Hey, Tom, we have
Chris,
a question.
please.
Is there a way to see the total dollar value of all the quotes that you've sent?
Yes, absolutely. So certainly visiting like the sales quotes primary list is going to allow me to put a total dollar amount on this. So that's one way. And because this is based on generic inquiry, I could also put together a pivot table that either quantifies or sums or both. And maybe I want it broken down by who the customer is or the status. So an example would be save as pivot, and we go customer dash status. And when I'm looking at the total field, so the reporting options are many. And of course, I'm not even really highlighting some of the dashboards that come with. But so I said we would basically pick up who the tuning, we said status. And stage is a good one though too. Let's put stage in there. And the account name. And then where'd our total go? Total. And total I want, a sum. No. All right. So what do our quotes look like at the stage level and across which accounts? Yep. And then, it's a pivot table based on a generic inquiry. So each of these becomes a drill down point. You can just pull them up. Is there more to that, Chris, or do you feel like that answers the question?
That was it. I think that is a good answer. So multiple ways, either from the screen using the pivot table.
Yep.
I'm sure we could put that on the dashboard.
Absolutely. That's where I was kind of going next, right? Is that quantification of sales revenue, sales potential, sales lost. And those are all dashboard widget criteria that my pipeline, here it is plotting out. Well, here's those same stages, right? Proof, prospect, qualification, solution. And each one of these are all backed by a generic inquiry, just like we saw. So lots of different ways to report quantification, sums, etc. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or?
The last one is this CRM included? How do I go about adding it to my system?
Yep. Yeah. It's really about reaching out to your partner, us, Martin Associates, and saying, I need a quote And if you're an existing Acumatica customer, it'll be a prorated quote for the balance of your annual subscription. Um, and which options? Just the CRM core plus case management, have Outlook or Gmail Exchange or Exchange integration, self-service portal, which options you're interested in. Get a quote, sign the quote. 3 days later, Acumatica and Martin Associates will turn on the CRM feature set. We can get down to implementing the feature set. Yeah. So that part can be pretty quick.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think we're good. Oh, wait,
Okay.
hold on.
Well,
Along with that, does the access to the CRM consume a full Acumatica license per user?
Gotcha. Yeah. For like
Yeah,
if you're under a user constraint, like maximum of 10 users on the small business edition or something like that.
right.
The answer is yes. Really to log in, to be a salesperson, doing quoting activity, they need to be a user. And a reminder, Acumatica doesn't have user types like light users, medium users, and heavy users. There's no such thing in Acumatica. There's just users. So yes, if you want to grant access to Acumatica to a person, that's a user. Yep.
All right.
Good question. Okay. Well, if there wasn't anything else, then I will have us um, end here with a few minutes left. That's not where I wanted to end up. Sorry. That's good. There.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thank you all for joining us. And again, this recording will be sent out within a couple of days. And if you have any questions, please reach out to your account manager or the email on here, info, or whomever you know at Martin and Associates. Be happy to share more information with you. Have a great day.